Welcome to your 2020 reading, and welcome to 2020. If you're watching this in the new year, we made it to another decade. It's not something to get upset about, but to get excited about, because there's a lot of great things that happen when we have a new decade, a new cycle. In the Chinese zodiac, we're starting out with a whole new cycle here. So we're starting out with the rat, which is always first. And so there's a lot of big stuff happening, no matter the sign. And I wanted to start first by drawing one card from the major arcana so we can have like a real big emphasis on what this year will be like for you guys. And something just to kind of meditate on throughout the year. Look at your card on the bottom. So we will be exploring further and, just kind of getting more and more along as we go. But first, let's draw one card for Virgo in 2020. Okay. So, you guys have some exploring to do, and you're being pushed to make a really big change. This oftentimes manifests in a new home or changing, your home life, because this is the Chariot card, which represents Cancer, and Cancer is, your home life, who you are on an emotional level, your moods, your cycles, things like that. So it's a very personal year that you guys are going to undertake. This is something that is really going to push you out of your shell. It's really going to challenge you to come out of your comfort zone. So I've already seen this for two other signs. I think it was Leo, and then there was one other that had the Chariot card as well. So it looks like it's a pretty prominent theme that a lot of us are going to be changing where we live come the new year, or at some point in 2020. So this is really, though, about getting more into touch with your purpose, because we see with the Chariot card, there's a road to lead away from home. So if we always stay in the same place again and again, how can you expect things to really significantly change? And you guys, being a mutable sign, love change. You represent change. You may like routine, but you also have a knack for exploring new things and new ideas, since you guys are represented by the planet Mercury, which Mercury is almost the mind planet. It's how you take in thoughts and actions, how you perceive the world, and how you communicate those thoughts, whether it's creatively through writing, whether it is learning different languages, whether it is, driving, being a vessel of transportation, things like that. And so the Chariot really connects us to the road ahead, and it really kind of is like the journey card, that comes kind of in the middle of the zodiac signs almost. Well, it's still at the beginning, but it's like right before you get to Leo, which is really identifying what's core to you. And the Chariot is more so knowing that you need to step out of your comfort zone. It's not yet quite identifying what your life is going to be shaped like, but it's like coming to terms with the idea of change and starting to at least maybe map out where you guys will go in the coming decade, because it looks like 2020 is going to be a year that's going to push you to identify what's next for you guys, and what is really big for you to work on yourself. So the Chariot, obviously, we see a lot of change happening, like the lions down there, I guess they're sphinxes, they are in a sitting position, they're resting. So like I said, this isn't the literal change, but this is like conceptualizing it. I drew this card all in 2018. It was throughout the year. It just kept coming up again and again and again for me. Like I just couldn't stop seeing it. And I don't really have Cancer placements in my chart, so it was pretty unusual. But I also was thinking a lot about moving, which I eventually did at the very tail end of the year. I moved all the way across the country. And so that's a really big signifier of moving. Now, when we move, we don't necessarily um, change our personality or take on a new persona. We're still the same person. And so the chariot is just more so changing the structure around you, changing the external. But it's going to bring about like some mood swings, some emotions that are going to be, hard for you guys to kind of address, because that's, just like the moon itself, when it gets full, people are just kind of a little more haywire. They're a little more, there's crazy in the air. There's a lot of superstitions about, when the moon becomes full, and what that does to society at large. Even the natural world certainly understands the phenomenon too. You have wolves howling at it, the tides changing. There's a lot of different things that happen based on where the moon is. And so you guys are really going to look into the moon's placement throughout the year. It would be a great benefit for you guys, especially when it's transiting through your sign. If you know your own moon sign, I encourage you to check on it when it's in that specific sign. But if you only know that you're just a Virgo, definitely look especially at that time of year. So late August to middle to late September, where the moon is placed, the new and the full moons during that time are going to be especially significant for you guys. So there's always a new moon in the sign that it's in, so a new moon in Virgo, and then a full moon in that season is typically going to be the sign that's opposite your own. So it's typically Pisces, but it can vary. So look into that come late August, late September, and kind of check in to see where you guys are at. Maybe that's when things will really take off. We do have the number 7 with the card, the Chariot, so it could even be the 7th month, which is July, which is Cancer season, to be honest. So that is when maybe we'll see a lot of this taking place. That's just a big time for everybody to be thinking more about their home life and domesticity and, things that are personal to them. But yeah, so exciting stuff. Now, I do have, of course, a hesitation here because we have a reversal. So this is going to kind of, it's not going to come about in the, in the easiest way. You guys aren't going to be as receptive to the move and the transition as a right side up chariot would bring about. So this could mean it could manifest in a lot of different ways, whether a move is being pushed onto you, whether you're having to evict your house, whether your family is moving and you have to make a choice to follow them or to stay put. It could involve your partner. Whatever the case that's individual to you watching this, the move itself is going to have some constrictions to it. It's not going to be a wholly positive thing that's going to be, you know what I mean? I feel like it's almost going to have not repercussions, but demands to it that are going to be not the easiest to, attend to, I guess. Like there's going to be stipulations involving it. And so that's the real struggle. And it's just knowing that there is possibility, there is, great things will happen when you do make that change. Not to say that change in itself is good, but when we're pushed to make a big change like moving, it has this chain reaction, almost this domino effect, where we start to have new people in our lives that come in. We start to maybe change our career path to something that we've been wanting to work towards. Maybe we get out of the relationship that has been, holding us back, or friendships that aren't beneficial. So there's always those opportunities whenever new things come into your life, and so it is prescient to see that there is possibility, and there are good things to come, even though it may not seem like it at first when it's presented to you, or you really feel like it's urgent for you to start thinking about it. So that's really what I see with the Chariot. Let's see what else we have here. When I draw from the rest of the deck, I need to just shuffle all the major back into the minor. And but yeah, good things nevertheless. Look out for Cancer signs will probably pop up big for you guys in 2020. So if you know some, which you probably do because it's in your 11th house of friendships and surroundings. So you probably know quite a few Cancer signs already. Okay, so what else, Virgo, 2020? I hope you guys have enjoyed the holidays and they haven't been super stressful. They're more low key. Okay, so Four of Cups in reverse, another reversal. You guys are a little, you know, not closed off, but you're a little unattentive to what's going on in your life, it seems like, from the beginning of 2020. So, the Four of Cups, this is a figure that is very solitary, like, at a park or in the woods. Somebody that is, tends to be a little more pessimistic, a little more glass half empty as opposed to glass half full. And so that's kind of what we also see with the Chariot too. Is like you see this, there's a big opportunity happening, but there's this tendency with you guys to not jump at new things like the rest of the mutable signs are. You guys are Earth, so you're very slow to move or slow to act. You're always willing to help out, but when it comes to your own personal life, things move at a different pace. You like structure and routine. It's just the giving quality that you guys have for other people that is more on display in the mutable sensibility. So the Four of Cups is really an opportunity that's just coming out of thin air for you guys. And it's not one that you really even notice or you really give much thought to, especially when it's reversed. It could be completely overlooked when it's reversed. But, cups are a great symbol in tarot. Cups represent our wishes and our dreams and things that we really want in a deep way. Cups can also represent tragedy and loss. So it's like the highs and lows of tarot, I feel like. We see that with water signs, and they tend to have, I feel like, a lot more chaos surrounding them or tragedy involved in their lives, which makes them the more emotional and possibly volatile of the signs or of the elements in the zodiac. But the Chariot here, feels like this Cancerian qualities are really coming forth, where you're really having to see the pessimistic tendencies that you guys have and not being as open to the change and the possibility in your life. So it's really important to give things a moment. Just because you hear an idea doesn't mean it has to change your perception, or you have to put all of your eggs into one basket. If someone suggests something to you, or if this opportunity comes out, at least explore it. You don't have to, nothing's going to happen to you that's going to tie you to it, or there's no contract involved and just looking into something. But if you just, completely ignore opportunities, I feel like that speaks a lot more to your own nature. And do you really want to get better, or do you want to improve yeah. Okay. So, wow. So 2 water and then 2 earth. So Pentacles here. We have the Queen of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. These are very Virgoing cards in nature. The Queen of Pentacles is a nurturing female, typically an earth sign. So this is perfect for Virgo. So if there's a female in your life that's coming up, somebody that you guys look to for um, financial help. Maybe it's your own mom or just somebody that is better off. It could even be somebody from work. The earth signs represent work and, females there, coworkers, but just somebody maybe a little older that is very stable and they're very hardworking, but they're also very practical, logical. They're not very creative or dreamy or anything like that. They're very firm in their decision making, and they're typically somebody that's better off. So that person could really maybe help you see the possibility and discern that it might be really good for yourself to um, come to terms with the change that's happening, if it's a move or not. And then the Nine of Pentacles is kind of you guys at your best. I feel like this is Virgo in the best way. I mean, I know there's some Venus symbolism here, but just look at the figure, and then there's the wildlife, the bird, and she looks like she's so serene. And this is you guys getting in touch with nature and things that are of the natural world, which you guys represent animals in the zodiac, like more so the care of them as opposed to actual animals. But you probably have one, at least one in your life, whether it's a pet or somehow involved in your life. But they mean a great deal to you guys. Typically for Virgos, the ones I've met in my life, and so they represent this kind of duality that allows you to get in touch with your giving side. Especially with animals and caretaking. It allows you to kind of give that nurturing tendency that you guys have without having to go the full blown route of motherhood or, parenting. So I think it's a really good way for you guys to channel that when you're more work focused. So you're not really somebody that tends to look at motherhood or anything as like your goal. You would love to spend more time in like, establishing a career and working hard at that, but having some sense of nurturing on the side. So there's a great duality here. There's a great balance where you can still give back in some way, whether it's volunteering, charity, working, at an animal shelter, anything like that, but also keep the pentacles that you need for yourself to stay prosperous and maintain a healthy lifestyle for yourself. So there is this lesson here, and that make sure you're not giving more than you're getting or you're holding on to. It's not 50-50, especially when it comes to finances. You really can't give half of what you're earning out there unless you do make quite a bit of money. But it's just kind of, there's a message here that give, and that always makes you feel better. That makes you kind of like have this little ego boost or something, and that you guys are always in a better mindset. I think when those healthy regimens or that nurturing side comes out in you, you're not as discerning, or you're not as kind of like callous, because I think that's something that happens with the earth signs, is that they kind of get into this mode or this state of mind where they're so restricting that they just say no right off the bat. And you guys are the one typical, you're typically the one sign of the earth elements that is more obligated to say yes, or feels like they're more open to doing that stuff. Again, the mutable energy, and you guys have a tendency to want to help others. And so there's some great opportunity to allow you to do that in 2020 here. It's going to bring out that nurturing side, but really focus on helping yourself in the big picture. Whatever does come into your life that's asking for a helping hand, it's really important that you exercise caution, and you don't give more than is necessary, or giving more than would do damage to you at a later time. So I'm going to draw a few more cards here to summarize 2020. If you want to see what they are, there's going to be a description on how to see part 2 of this video down below. And I'll see you guys in a second.